Again, physical practice today. Really pleased with the way that the guys came out after a scrimmage like we did with 150, 60 plays in attack today with physicality. The situational football we played today was third and medium and long, some red zone opportunities, played some mixed down ball as well, and then had some blitz and pressure situations both against testing some protections and in the run game as well. But all in all, thought that we sustained better towards the end of practice. Emphasis on competition, making sure that competition is not just a tagline that you feel good about when it's going your way. That competition is something that is real and that you keep bringing it every day. And I think that has stuck. We've had some good guest speakers with some good messaging, and it seems like it's taken some very positive, impactful effect on us. So, questions?
With a chance to look back at the scrimmage, Mario, just what do you think of the quarterback play, and has there been any separation in that backup job competition right now?
Well, I think if you look at the entire body of work, you see a guy like Butterfield has taken a massive step during camp. On Saturday, Ty Thompson played, the best of all the quarterbacks. Robbie got back in there for a couple series. He was down for a couple of days with some minor stuff. But Saturday, definitely Ty had played the best of all the quarterbacks. Anthony has had a great camp. We pulled him a little bit, felt that his arm was overused, and we got to rest him so we don't cause any issues. But that about sums it up. So that being said, today those guys all took turns with the twos, and they performed well. We think they keep getting better, but I guess that gives you a snapshot of the entire thing and then what you saw on Saturday. There was some very positive play by all those guys.
After Ty played so well, was there any inclination to get him a little more time with the ones?
Well, I think all those guys are getting enough reps. We calculate them all. We don't make that information, public material, but we feel like we're repping it fairly and that we're repping the situation, the guys, taking the reps with the plays that fit their skill set. And Ty, again, he did a great job on Saturday.
And you said impressions of the scrimmage based on the film that maybe you hadn't had live that you picked up on film?
I don't know, without question. I think that tight end crew really stood out, and not just in the passing game, in the run game as well. I got to go first with the defensive line because I thought those guys created a lot of issues for the offense early on, both in the run and in the pass. They did a good job getting their hands on guys, controlling their gaps, controlling their blockers. We didn't run the ball too many times, but the times that we did, there was some back and forth, and it was good. But on third down, those guys created some issues. They created some issues with the way they pressed the pocket. They created issues with the way that they compressed the edges and just played with a lot of passion, a lot of energy. We talked about the linebackers on Saturday. All those guys really stood out. I can't say enough about the way Triquez Bridges has been playing and the way Dante Manning has been playing. A lot of guys, Steve Stevens really popped as well. Kingsley was a guy we mentioned on Saturday. Looking at film again, he's a guy that Jackson was down on Saturday, but those two guys have shown a lot of promise, and so has Marcus Harper, and so has JD, Jonathan Dennis. Faopes had some good reps. Saturday did a nice job, but before that he was doing really, really well. So those guys really popped. Seven did some good things. I could go on for a little bit here now.
How's Harp handling doing some snapping? Is that coming natural to him?
No, that's a great question, man, because life changes when the ball's in your hands. Right, there's a split second where you've got to cut down to a fraction of a split second so that you could be an effective football player. He's done really well. A lot of guys, you put a ball in their hand and they're paralyzed, they can't move. He's a guy that he's so knowledgeable, he's so smart and takes so much pride that he's playing fast because he's learned the game. The game has slowed down for him, allowing him to play fast. A lot of pride in his game. Physical guy, hard worker, doing a great job.
And a group that stood out for you on Saturday. What's the health and availability looking like for that group?
Well, as you guys probably saw, Patrick Herbert did sustain a knee injury, and it's a good knee injury, so he'll be down for a while. With DJ joining us again and the way that Cam is coming around, we feel good about the depth there, but certainly going to miss Patrick because he was playing great football for us. Really, after coming off of a knee injury, he had been playing really well, just more physical, running routes really well. He's always had great hands, but again, just after being here a couple of years, he was getting accustomed and playing at a high level. But overall, the group has good depth, and we feel good about him.
Nice to have Red and Devin back out there today, and just where does Red start to fill? Obviously, I know he missed some time in the spring, so just where does he kind of fit right now in terms of conditioning and being on the field?
Oh, that's a great question. Here's the thing is that, we have a couple guys that work within our sports science department that are return to play specialists. A lot of times when you have injuries, you try to get guys back too early and they get injured again. So we acclimate them, and it's almost like a pitch count, and that pitch count applies to their indie reps, applies to their routes on air, applies to their 7-on-7 team reps. And those guys are going to be acclimated the right way, so by the time that the season rolls around, they can be legitimate contributors and impactful players. So that's what we're working on. We think they've progressed nicely. We're going to steadily increase them, and we do that with everybody. And we feel like that's where the program has taken a monster step in the way that our return to play is handled.
How did you see the specialist performance out of today, the kickers and punters?
You know, with what they had presented to them, they handled it well. It wasn't much of a challenge. We did not rush field goals live. Felt that we hadn't practiced it enough to actually put a live rush on there. Didn't want to just cause something that we hadn't practiced or prepared for. I think Tom Snead's had an outstanding camp. He has, and you never mention Karsten Battles because he's so on point. And when you mention him, you're like, probably not a great thing. Well, in his case, the guy's always done really well. He's extremely dependable. He's done a great job coaching the other guys. That's where his value is starting to increase more and more. He's worked on his body so he can cover better balance and body control, has increased his speed. You can get that snapper down there in the punting game. It makes a difference, a big difference. So just really proud of him and what he's done.
What has Tom done to maybe improve so much?
Sure.
What has Tom done over the offseason, Tom Snead, to kind of make those strides?
He's a grinder. He really is. When he first got here, that was an adjustment. Making sure that two-step thing was something that at first was as foreign as can be for him. And he can tell you, I was all over him like there's no tomorrow. It was rough, but Tom is a resilient guy. He's I'm not sure the fastest way to get to his house, if you fly east or you fly west, I think you get there at the same time. So he's come halfway around the world to be here. He loves it here. We love him here. He just grinds. He's a perfectionist, man. He's a master of his craft, so you expect a big season out of him.
You had the guest speaker in over the weekend. I know you bring in former players and a lot of high-profile guests. When you go in to schedule those, what kind of goes through your mind as far as the type of person you want to bring in?
Yeah, it's a great question. We want to make sure it fits the culture. We don't just randomly pick a guy because we heard great things about him. I mean, you hear us say it a lot. We do things a certain way. We're very much about how you do anything is how you do everything. That means something. It means everything, and we're not going to come off of that. And in order for a message to be impactful, it's got to be genuine and authentic, and that was part of one of our speakers' messages. But it's got to hit you right between the eyes. It's got to be real. It's got to have substance, and then it's something that you can carry with you. And we've been blessed with the guys that we have had here, and it does. This is a one time a year where you have these guys all to yourself. There are no classes. There's always distractions, but you don't have the major distractions that come with the hustle and bustle of daily life. We're in a bubble, and this is a great time to really a barrage of the right stuff and continually just stay on it and stay on it and stay on it until it becomes part of our DNA. So I hope that explains it.
Darren Barkins got tested a lot on Saturday, naturally. Do you feel like, how do you feel like he performed? Does he get some opportunities with the twos since he was a summer arrival? I know why he was with the threes, but does he get some opportunities? Did he earn that, or how do you feel like he did on Saturday?
Oh, he's rotating in there with some two work as well. We have some nickel and dime packages. I mean, as you saw, the guy's really fast. I mean, really, really fast. And the best thing he did, I know that everybody wants to celebrate the good coverages and everything else. The best thing he did is when he got beat on a pass, is go back there and rip it right out and get the ball back to the defense. So Barkins is man, he's going to be a good football player now. He's going to be a real, real good one. Another guy with a lot of pride. You can coach him hard. From the San Diego area, we take a lot of pride in that pipeline that has been created, and he's a guy that we feel is going to be a really good player for us, and he's going to be able to help us this year.
With Drew Mathis, how have you seen him progress? What have you kind of liked out of him during camp?
Yeah, in every way, from a leadership standpoint, understanding his assignments, helping others understand their assignments, talking to other guys, making sure he's a positive and impactful person. The way he carries himself is very important. I mean, from his body language to what he does on special teams, he's always full throttle, 100%. So he's one of those really strong keepers of the culture.
How valuable are he and Nate just as veteran guys in that inside group? Because it's a lot of younger guys.
A lot of value and experience, and those two guys, not only do they have a wealth of it, they have the right kind of mentality, the right type of intention. Everything they do is with a purpose. They don't ever just kind of walk out here and expect anything handed to them or expect things to be easy. They know we are a difficult, I would say, camp regimen and structure. They know that we challenge ourselves every day. And those guys, they grab their lunch pail, they go to work, all you hear about from them is positivity and impacting their teammates.
An issue that came up last week, Mario, nationally, was with NIL, with BYU getting all of its walk-ons subsidized, at least for the year, and the idea of scholarship bleed being an unintended consequence potentially. Your feelings on, obviously, players getting paid is you're all supporting, but the idea that you could have a roster now of 100, 105, 110 scholarship players and what that might mean. You've been at places where that could get rather extreme, potentially.
You know, it's hard to say until I guess see a little bit more data. I understand what you're saying, and I could see where the concern arises. It's just these are such uncharted waters. I'd kind of like to wait and see a little bit more and study a little bit more, since we're stuck in the submarine and haven't really seen the outside world or what's going on. I wish I had a better comment and answer, but I don't have one right now.
Goofy one for you, but because of you have 3 guys wearing 6 and 2 quarterbacks wearing 13. In the event of a game, I don't know what would happen at quarterback if they were both wearing that. So does rubber meet the road eventually at some of that?
Got to follow the rules, so whatever makes us abide by the rules, we'll do. Yes, sir.